This is my Traxxas TRX4m Bronco, and this is my Axial SCX24 Deadbolt. And today we're going to find out which one of these little trucks performs better on an actual micro crawler course, and hopefully help you decide which truck you want to buy. If you want to see an on-the-bench comparison of these two trucks, you can click up in the corner right there for that video, and I'll also put a link to that video in the description below. I do have quite a few modifications on this Deadbolt right here. This truck also has a few minor modifications. I talk more about those in that on-the-bench comparison, so if you are interested in seeing some of those, you can just check out that video to see some more about that. Anyways, let's head out to the crawler course. So I'm going to crawl over a bunch of obstacles with the Bronco first and then with the Deadbolt, and then I'll put those two clips back to back so you can really see how they compare. On this first hill climb here, both trucks did pretty well. It was a pretty steep incline here, it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but it was pretty impressive from both trucks. On this next obstacle, the Bronco did struggle to get grip a little bit here, but it is still on stock tires, so I mean that does make sense. The Deadbolt, however, with its upgraded tires, did just fine first try. Here, I think the bumper on the Bronco was getting in the way a little bit. Once it kind of got off those rocks, it just hit another rock with the bumper, which just caused it to flip right over. And even here, when I took a different line off those rocks, once it gets all the way down here, in just a second, there we go, the bumper hits that little rock there again, and it just kind of keeps getting hung up on everything. So I think the bumper and just kind of the whole body on this truck kind of seems to be its biggest downfall. I have also removed the front bumper on the Deadbolt, so that's why it doesn't get hung up on it at all, but here on the first attempt with the Deadbolt, it didn't have quite enough speed to get off the rock smoothly, so I bumped up the speed mode to medium and it was just fine. On this pretty steep descent here, the Bronco slid pretty far down and then it hit its bumper again on another rock. The Deadbolt took it quite a bit more controlled. It still slid just a little bit, but not nearly as much as the Bronco, and of course, when it got to the bottom, it didn't hit on the bumper. Now, over this log was pretty interesting for the Bronco. It struggled quite a bit, honestly more so than I thought it would. In the end, it did make it over, but it kept getting hung up on the bumpers and just other parts of the body. Of course, when it got onto these rocks here, it did absolutely fine. The Deadbolt took this log with almost no problem at all. It just went straight over it. However, when it got onto these rocks, it was actually getting hung up just a little bit, more so than the Bronco, which I was actually kind of surprised about, but I think it was mostly getting caught up on the axles. Again here, you can see the Bronco just getting hung up on that bumper and on the body hanging so far over the front wheels. I had to shimmy back and forth for a while until I could go around this little obstacle. And of course, the Deadbolt went over this, no problem at all.
You get like whole widened axles or something like that? Yeah, that'd probably make more sense.
Here we have another pretty steep climb. This was actually made for 10 scale crawlers, so the fact that these trucks can make it up this hill at all is quite impressive. The Deadbolt just couldn't get the speed to make it all the way up this hill in its lowest speed mode, so I bumped up the speed mode to medium, and then it made it up just fine. Right here, the Bronco actually really surprised me with how well it could make it up this super steep little bit of this rock. It was crazy. The Deadbolt definitely struggled a bit more than I thought it would on this section, especially because the Bronco made it straight up, but in the end, with a different line, it made it right up. Both of these trucks really surprised me quite a lot with how well they could crawl. Overall, I think that the Deadbolt did a little bit better, mainly just because it doesn't have that bumper and overhang of the body right there to get hung up on all the time, and the Bronco got hung up on several other parts of the body in different places as well, and on some of the things that I wasn't filming, it just couldn't make some obstacles that the Deadbolt could because of the body, and it just gets hung up in too many places. So if you're trying to figure out which one of these trucks you want to buy, it really comes down to if you want a little bit better performance or better looks, because obviously the Bronco is the better looking of the two. I'm not saying the Deadbolt looks bad, it's a super cool truck, don't get me wrong, but the Bronco is just super realistic. I mean, of course, it's a real life licensed body, so that's going to be a bit more realistic, and they just did a great job with the whole design of the truck, the proportions and everything. But the Deadbolt is just a little bit more performance focused. So if you want more performance, maybe you want to do some crawler competitions and things like that, I think I would probably recommend the Deadbolt. But if you want just a casual crawler, you know, maybe even trail truck, something like that, just something to have fun with in your backyard or out at the crawler track every now and then, I'd probably go with the Bronco. I also think that if you wanted to, you could probably make the Bronco a super capable truck. I mean, it's already very, very capable just in its almost fully stock form. If you were to remove the bumpers, front and rear, put a different body on it, maybe a little bit more lightweight up top, and then really just some different tires, maybe some extra weight down low, I think this would be pretty much the ultimate micro crawler. It would do even better than the Deadbolt because of how well it performs in its stock form. If you were to modify it like that, it would just be crazy. Of course, both of these trucks are great options, and I think you would love either of these trucks or any of the variants of either of these trucks. They're all great options. I'll put a link to where you can find both of these trucks and some of their variations in the description down below. And if you'd like to see a more just in-depth on the bench comparison of these two trucks, you can click right up here for a video about that. And if you'd like to see another awesome video about this Bronco right here, you can click right here for that video, and I'll see you over there.